I've been thinking about the things we said. Oh yeah. And maybe we'd be better off being just friends. Oh yeah. It's getting kinda obvious what you want from me. Only calling when you feel alone. You make promises, then you let them go. So if you just wanna have my body, you better go find somebody else.
Hey guys, welcome to the 5 F's to Love. I'm telling you, tonight is going to be an eye-opener for me. You know, sometimes we often think that we know, especially as a heterosexual female, everything that there is to know about relationships. But one of the things that I'm lucky is that I have a whole community of people that I love to talk to all the time. And they're okay with me asking them questions. You know why? Because it's one thing to think one thing, and it's another thing to know what it is that you're talking about. So you guys know it's our community, our voice, and our LGBT community is always welcome on this platform because we want to understand and we want to know. But not only that, you know, there's a lot of things that I'm very concerned about when we make decisions about people based on who they're with intimately. I think we need to start being a little bit more open-minded about our choices, about how we look at people and view people, and understand relationships are relationships. As long as you're with the person who makes you happy, that's the primary goal. So I'm going to introduce first, because I'm going to tell you, you missed him last week. All I got to say is, Scott, you're hot. That's it. We're just getting a wave. What is that? Scott's like, he's like real shy. He's like, hi. Like, I don't even want to raise my hand. Scott, why are you being shy?
I don't
Tell
know.
us, like you're coming on this week. And I think, honestly.
I'm sorry I missed it last week. I'm glad to be here.
Me too.
I'm excited. We're going to talk about some shit.
We are going to talk about some things. And I'm really excited about that because I think a lot of times people just have this perspective. And I'm lucky that my godbrother is just an amazing guy. I love Michael Belcher. And he just talks to me like there's no question it's off limits. You know, he just says, well, Christine, what do you want to know? Now, some things I tell him all the time. Maybe you might be telling me too much, though. I don't know, like a little bit too much. But you guys know the doctor is here. That's all I got to say. So, Dr. K, you just got back in town.
Just got back in town. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm going to tell you guys, do me a favor while we're chatting. Scott, if you can forward that information to our other co-hosts, that would be great.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that she is a part of the conversation. Jessie is in transit. Guys, she'll be on momentarily. And you guys know how she is. When she comes in, she's coming in like fire. That's all I got to say. She's coming in like fire. So, guys, you know what? Our conversation tonight, before we get started, it's really about, you know, monogamy. It's about polyamorous, it's about open relationships, fluid, swinging. And so those are all the things that I think and let me be totally honest, swinging is a heterosexual thing. It's not an LGBTQ situation. So it's just that we're just going to give more understanding to the dynamics of what people may think or feel. So folks, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have the whole team here, our community, our voice. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Make me crazy. Never got your name, but you got me begging. All I know about you, you like to pick and choose. Make it all about you. Go take it all if you want. Taking the chance, stuck in my head, not gonna leave it at that. Taking the lead, feeling your heat. Just wanna give you my best. I don't even know your name, but you got me. 'Cause you're old to die. We don't know what happens next, but you got me. 'Cause I'm next in line. You make it look so easy, making me feel so dreamy. Not to wanna pay some drinks, but you got me. 'Cause
So, hey guys, welcome back to the 5 F's to Love. We are doing our Monday show, Our Community, Our Voice. Listen, I'm going to tell you guys right now, you guys are both very hot. I just want to be clear. I'm a heterosexual woman, but I'm telling you, you guys are some hotties, which I'm not understanding why both of you are single. Let's get to that business while we're waiting on Jesse. So, you know what, Scott? I'm not going to put the hot water on you right away because this is like your first podcast. But Dr. K, let's get down
Put
to
me
the
on the spot. Huh?
So listen, why are you so picky? Are you
Well,
picky?
I don't
Maybe
think,
people is that me just being presumptuous?
yeah, I don't think I'm picky. I
What do
think
you think?
I'm
He's got
patient.
standards.
Yeah, I'm patient, and I take my time, and I don't like to rush into anything, but not picky. No.
And I think like automatically people would say, oh, he's a doctor, he must be being picky about his choices. But you can be because of who you are and what it is that you do. You do want a particular mate, and at some point you want a family, correct?
Yeah, you want to be equally yoked.
I like that.
I like that.
So sometimes it makes it a little difficult for relationships, but yeah, family is in the near future. It's coming one day.
I just want to say, not only your doctor, but like your body is amazing.
Oh,
I've
thank
seen
you,
your
thank you.
Instagram.
Yeah, I try to stay healthy, try to stay fit.
I'm gonna say, Scott is he's basically on your heels because I was looking at Scott's and I was like, is this a supermodel? What is this?
Scott is my role model. I tell you.
Scott, so the thing is, you are you single?
I am single.
Wow.
For a little backstory on me, I was married for 10 years to a woman, and I have 3 beautiful children, fully grown, very successful. And I've basically been in relationships for most of my life. I was in a relationship after I got divorced for about 10 years. Then I took a little break after that ended. And then I was in another relationship for probably 4 or 5 years. And then I waited quite a long time after that. I thought, you know what? I've been in relationships. I'm okay not being in one for a while. Got back in the game last year. And fell heavy and hard, too quick, too fast. And that only lasted about 7 months. So right now I'm taking a step back and just kind of, hanging with myself and regrouping. So I'm okay with it.
I'm glad you said that, Scott. Sometimes it feels good to step back and just love yourself and be single,
It does. You got to be comfortable in your own skin. And sometimes you got to take time and get to know yourself again. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially in relationships for the length of time that I've been in relationships. So, it's funny. There was a period of time where I thought, wow, I really like this kind of do my own thing when I want with whoever I want. Nobody, really to answer to. So it has its drawbacks and it has its pluses, but so single, yes, for now.
Okay. And you know what? One of the things you said, which is, I think people need to understand, is that regardless whether you are heterosexual or non-heterosexual, you still want the right mate. And it's no point in like rushing into something, because I feel like there's a lot of misnomers when you think about the LGBT community, like it's just fast and loose. But what I have found for me, there's a lot of married couples who've been together for a very long time. And it's just that new, I would say, what is it? Gen Z, X, are they? Ps? I don't know what they are. They're kind of fast and loose and doing some things, so it just gives you the impression that this is basically the lifestyle, but it's not. And that's the thing that, I don't know, people are really kind of, I don't know, it didn't surprise me, but it surprised the people, to me, thought that.
Right. Those are the relationships you don't hear a lot about. You hear about all the salacious stuff. All the things like headlines, and you don't really hear about. There's a lot of long-term same-sex relationships where people have been together for a long time and have children, and just live kind of out of the limelight of what we see as what's the mainstream gay community.
Okay, so that leads right into my first question. Does monogamy have a different meaning in the LGBT community versus heterosexual? So, Dr. K, does it have a different meaning to you or the same?
No, I don't believe so. I believe in homosexual, heterosexual relationships. There's a spectrum to all to any
Right.
classification. So I don't think monogamy may mean one thing that's different to the other. I think everybody has a way of defining it, which makes it unique. Some people are monogamous but have certain rules or certain allowances,
Right.
but still consider it monogamy if they're together or if they got permission. It's just it it varies. It's all about how it's defined between a couple, what monogamy is to them.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, I like what you just said. It's the definition of what monogamy is to them in that relationship. And I think that also stands for heterosexuals as well, because even
Absolutely.
within that situation, and I'll be totally honest with you, a really good friend of mine who I just, you think people are just prudes and they just really are like straight laced. I found that him and his wife were swingers. And I was just like kind of baffled by it because I was like, what is happening? What did you just say to me? Like it just kind of threw me. But the thing is that at that point, I needed them to kind of explain to me, like what did that look like for them, versus what I was seeing on to everybody else. Like you're dropping your kid off at private school, you're pulling up in the car next to me. Your wife is pretty persnickety, but then I find out it's a whole different lifestyle happening. So from that perspective, it just kind of blew me away. So that's why I said I think a lot of times people think it's one lifestyle versus the other. So what is one of the biggest misnomers that you think people have a misunderstanding about the LGBT community within itself when it comes to relationships?
I think that everybody is not monogamous. I think that's an assumption. I think that people make about the gay community, particularly if you're in a committed relationship, that, it's a free for all for everybody and monogamy doesn't exist, which is patently untrue. Again, I agree with Kari's assessment that it's something different to everybody. But I think in the LGBTQ community, there's just a lot of more, I guess spectrum is the word. There's a greater spectrum of definition of monogamy.
Okay, so what do you think, Dr. K?
I would agree. I'm trying to answer these questions without.
What? What are you like for somebody who may be interested in you?
Yeah. I just think certain, how do I want to say this? I'll start with this. Repeat the question. Let's start with that.
Why do I feel like I'm in the middle of something? Can you repeat the question, please?
Repeat the question, then we'll go from there.
So what do you think is one of the biggest misnomers about the LGBTQ community?
Promiscuity is pretty heavy, that it's just well, you got to understand the reason why the LGBTQ community is set apart is simply because of who we love. It's based on
right,
sex, our sexual relationship with somebody else. So the sex aspect, I think, is glamorized, and it's almost taboo, or it's almost a thing of interest to some people, because some people who wouldn't normally do something, they find it fascinating, maybe.
yes,
Right.
Or interesting. And so the media tends to highlight the sexual aspect of homosexuality, versus the actual nature, nurture and love and, relationship aspect.
Okay, so that's the question. Why do you think people put so much emphasis on who you're with intimately versus the fact that that's, and I say this in a way that I'm trying to be, politically correct and not a total asshole. But what I'm saying is that people, they don't look at what you're doing or who you're with, but who you're doing. And then they make a decision.
Because it doesn't fit a social norm.
Yes. And so that's the part where I'm how can I say this? I'm very concerned because I don't know if we're really sending the right message in a sense of this is, I think it's the equivalent to me. What if I had two lovers at home? What if I had two men at home and you didn't know it? She's the CEO of this IT company and you don't even know I got two misters at home. I'm married to one, but I have two. Is that going to make you feel any differently about my level of intellect or my ability to do the job that you hired me to do because I've got two male lovers at home?
Sadly, some people, yes, it will. Some people will judge you on your personal relationships. But that's just, I mean, that's nothing new. That's the way the world is, right?
Right.
It's always going to be like that. But that's one of the biggest things. You get judged,
Unfortunately.
And that's the unfortunate part, is that you are being judged. Well, folks, we'll be right back after this commercial break. When we get back, we're going to talk about what is an open relationship versus a fluid. I just found out from my son that he's asking women this now at the age of 20, whether or not they are fluid or not. I just didn't know what was happening. I need somebody to help me with this because I'm out here and I'm dating. I need to know, should I be asking that? We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Loving how you wind up. For me, tonight is all on me. Mash up the place for me. Yeah, yeah. She just wanna highlight. Ooh, that body talk to me. I need a taste, baby. Loving the way you move around me. No more delay. No, you can't wait to shut it down. Won't you show me how you work it? I can't find no flaws, you perfect. Cause every time that you come around my way, I keep falling again. I keep falling again. And every time that you come across my mind, I keep falling again. I keep falling again. In love. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 5Fs to Love. This is our community, our voice. And our conversation today is about monogamy, open relationships, polyamorous, I think fluid. I guess, listen, I'm getting a lesson in this as well. Like it's a whole list. And just to let you know, just because you are part of the LGBT community doesn't mean that you know the definition to all of these things. So let's not assume that. I think our conversation tonight is that we're all going to have this conversation about what it is and what it means to each of us, independent of what community we belong to, right? Because everybody belongs to a community. Well, maybe I belong to a lot of communities, though. I find myself as a universal. I think I see myself as a universal. Maybe that's what it is. Why? Because I'm a judgment-free zone. I don't judge people. I don't think we should judge people. That's the way I feel about that. Okay, so here we go. My son said to me, Mom, I've got to start asking girls, are they fluid? One, I didn't even know what a fluid was. I didn't. I had no idea. So, Jesse had to tip me. Did you guys know what a fluid was?
I did.
You did? So Kate, Dr. K, explain it to me.
It's where you're just you love you love whoever, or you'd be with a male, female. You're fluid. You're sexually free. Like water runs.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So basically, you're just sexually free to be in a relationship with whomever.
Not necessarily in a you don't even. I don't know if it's
Not relationship, it's a hookup.
Right. Yeah, it could be. It could be relationship based. But what I understand from fluid is, people, I think sometimes don't like the term bisexual or so fluid is the new term
for bisexual.
Well, I don't know if it replaces bisexual, but fluid just means like water. You just go with the flow.
Okay.
So,
all right, Scott, help me out.
My question is, what's the difference between fluid and bisexuality?
Right. That was my question.
So I think nowadays, like the use of the pronouns, like, oh, I'm gay, or I'm bisexual, or I'm this, I'm that. People don't really care to put themselves in those constrained boxes anymore. Right. So by saying fluid, it gives you some wiggle room. Like.
Okay. All right.
All right. So basically, just to remove the whole title of everything.
I would say, because fluid, I don't know if fluid actually has to involve sex. I think it's more so like you can like or be attracted to, or it doesn't have to involve sex. Bisexual, I think, actually is you're involving sex.
Right. So
sex is in the word.
A woman could just say, I love to make out with another woman, and that's all it is, maybe.
Maybe, or not even to make out, just like
companionship.
Yeah, or I find them attractive, or I think it's some degree of attraction there, But fluid's the new terminology for it. Yeah.
And what did your son say, Christine? He said he needed to know if she was fluid.
Yes. Because he said he had gone out with the girl, and he said, Mom, the conversation, he's a heterosexual male. And he just said, Mom, she told me, she says, oh, I like men and women. And he said, well, are you bisexual? She says, no, I'm fluid. And I said, well, what is this?
They don't like that bisexual. That's an old term.
Right.
Yeah, and I feel like bisexual has a negative connotation to it for whatever reason.
Exactly.
Fluid is like, you're free, you're fluid. This is who I am. Let's not put a label on it.
I have no shape, no resistance.
Okay, so are we saying that it's a thing with commitment that we're saying that we're trying to get away from, or what?
I don't think it's commitment. I think it's just an updated term. What you think, Scott?
Yeah, again, I don't have a lot of experience talking about fluidity, but the way you explain it is the way I understand it. It's just kind of a new way of talking about it. But again, I agree, it doesn't necessarily have to have a sexual tag on it.
Like Christine, that's like when people start describing themselves as binary or cis, or those. And
that was my next question.
That was your next
Everybody
question.
has a she, a cis. I don't know what to put down.
And so my understanding of it, immediately when I heard that, I started thinking organic chemistry, like, because those are the terms we used in organic chemistry.
Okay, because I didn't know what to say. I really don't, like on Zoom. Everybody has
he, him, her.
Yeah.
They put their pronouns up.
Yeah.
So I made me no pronoun. I'm just Christine. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to put the wrong thing. I'm very concerned about putting the wrong thing.
it surprised me when people start using a lot of these pronouns, because I think one of the complaints, or one of, yeah, not complaint, but one of the voices that I would hear, or not me here, but is people didn't like to be labeled, and it seems like now we're really labeling to the T, you know.
Right.
uh
Splitting hairs with the label.
yeah, and it's almost like they're putting themselves in boxes.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
feel like people get very offended if they think they're put in the wrong box, right?
Right.
It's like, oh no, I'm not.
okay, so that's the thing. We go from saying that we don't want to be labeled, but we're creating new labels for the old labels, and then we're adding these pronouns, which then does put you in a box. Correct?
Yeah, I think it's easy. I think it's it's helpful to the person, I guess, for identification purposes, to really explain to somebody how they feel, because I'm sure these labels can change,
Right.
like,
Okay,
but at that moment they can say, oh yes, I'm trans male, whatever
Right.
description.
okay, but this is the thing, and this is just me. Seriously, if you guys are confused, do you know I'm confused? I just want to make it clear.
I
Yeah.
still have to look some stuff up.
I think it's really confusing for people outside of the community, because I also think they think, we don't want to be labeled. We just want to be accepted as the same as everybody else. Yet we have to have 14 labels
Right.
for what we are. So figure it out. It's kind of like, it doesn't make sense to me.
And you know what
Okay,
I
I
think,
feel the
Scott?
same way.
And it's funny you said, I think it's a age thing, like the younger people, they feel more comfortable.
100%. And
Yeah.
listen, I'm not a young person, but I completely support what is right for you. But I find it confusing personally.
I do too.
And I'm in the community and I find it confusing. And like you, I'm like, what does that mean?
I either have to look it up, or I have to ask somebody,
Yeah, because you can
Can you
really,
Google it?
you
You
can,
can
Is this a
Google
Google
it, yeah.
situation?
but you can easily unintentionally offend somebody.
I know. That's why I didn't even know how to phrase the questions tonight, because I was like, I don't even know how to, because I was so here I am talking. I'm like, well, how do I even say this? So I was trying to be non-offensive by asking questions a certain way. So here's a good example. I said, what is one misunderstanding people have about the LGBT community and relationships? Right? So we answered that question. But then one of my other questions, I didn't even know how to phrase it, because it felt like it was kind of like borderline, I didn't know. So I said, can you speak to the heterosexuals' concerns around being approached by someone from the LGBT community seeking a platonic friendship? I didn't even know how to word that, because it was like, should I add the pronouns?
I think that's a great question.
Okay. So what's your response?
Well, I can't answer from the hetero.
No, but I mean, I'm just from your perspective, because I can answer from the heterosexuals, but
I think it's pretty easy to maintain a platonic friendship with a heterosexual. Only because most of my friends are heterosexual. So I think it's because usually with friends, that's what y'all are. Y'all are friends, not fuck buddies. Not, you know what I'm saying? It's like y'all have mutual interests, and it's not, doesn't have to be bedroom interest,
right.
It's like, okay, this guy's a business owner, this guy's has a boat, or blah blah, whatever it may be, that draws you together, which is a genuine friendship, regardless of your sexuality.
Yep.
So I think it's easy, because that's just how my life is set up. you know?
Yeah, and if you approach it like that and you don't make someone feel uncomfortable and don't make them feel like you're trying to make them a bedroom buddy, then it works. But I mean, there are guys out there that are just really uncomfortable with it. And
there are women out there, you know, a lot of women, and I get it. I think I have like my male friends have a lot of masculine energy. So, okay. But when I go out, I get a lot of free drinks from ladies,
all right.
you know, and I just politely tell them, you know, thank you so much. I'm 100% into guys.
You don't
But
drink
thank
the
you.
drink first?
Oh no, I drink the drink. Don't
Okay,
be
all
misunderstood.
right.
Drink. You know, I drink the
That's
drink.
the right
It's
answer.
rude not to drink the drink.
Right.
You know, it's rude. But I always tell them thank you, but I also give clarity. You know, like you know, and I've actually had lesbian couples approach me. You know, as if it's an opportunity for a little 3 thing going. But I have to tell them I am strongly committed to a penis. Strongly committed. There is no wavering at all.
Okay.
And so I even had them cracking up laughing. I said, you know what? I said, I'll be honest with you. I commend you guys because when I think about a vagina and me, I cry. I can't even visualize being with another vagina. I just can't, you know, and that's just me, right?
Right.
But I told them, I said, I commend them. But I think, you know, the biggest thing is with a lot of males, it's like having a relationship with a friend who is gay is like, you know, they're probably going to be liking me. No, you're not my type. It's just like being in a platonic friendship with a guy. You're my guy friend. I have no interest in you. Just because you're a guy with a penis doesn't mean I'm interested in you. You're not my type. Right. And I think that's hard for some people to understand, maybe because they don't have any platonic friends. I don't know. Or maybe they can't control themselves around you. You know, it can be like both ways. But do you guys feel sometimes people just assume because you're gay, like, oh, is he checking me out? Like it's hard for you to even give a compliment?
Sometimes
Like,
Kyrie, we were talking earlier about, you know, sometimes there's gay guys who try way too hard to pick up a straight guy, right? It's like, dude, just don't.
Give it up, right?
Well, that's something that really bothers me. I'm like, once you discover that, give them a compliment, move on. But sometimes they don't, and it's never good. Yeah. It's never good. And I think that gives the community in general a bad rap sometimes because there are those guys that think, I'm going to get this one. I'm going to change this one. And I'm like, okay, good luck.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you guys a question I didn't think about until this moment, but I remember a lot of conversations that I had with my god brother, and he explicitly would share how guys who were not out in the public, living this lifestyle, would approach him for relationships that could not be public. But to the public, they were straight. But behind the scenes is a totally different thing. But my thing is, when you see these guys, they are straight to the public. So how does that play out when, like to him, I told him, stop getting into these relationships. I felt like it just wasn't a win-win for everybody. That was me. It just wasn't. Like you can't do a candlelight dinner and then you see me in public and you turn your head like you don't even know who I am. And I know a lot of these people and I keep their secrets. I'm a big secret keeper. But it just astonished me that they really thought that this was okay. And by the way, they didn't tell the women that they were with that they like men.
I think that's going to go on, or that's been going on.
To the end of time.
To the end of time, right. But you know what? You know what, Scott? I almost look at it as like it's no different than a married husband cheating on his wife or a married wife cheating on her husband. You know, it's like it's always going to be level. See, it's a spectrum. It's always going to be levels to it. Some guys just aren't going to be comfortable,
right,
with their sexuality out in the streets. You know, it's just what it is.
That happens more often than people think. I'm sure you know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it happens a lot. I think that a lot of people, again, I keep a lot of people's secrets. I've been privy to be in a lot of spaces because of him, where I walked into the space and I almost had whiplash I was just like, what?
What?
Who's here?
Later? All right.
What? Because see, when you guys throw a party and it's a private party, a lot of people show up to those private parties where it's invite only. And people feel comfortable coming to those events because they know it's a limited
They
list
know
of
that no
Mhm.
pictures are going to be on
No,
display.
and exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the other thing too. When you go to the private parties, people, if you don't know this, your camera stays. There's no cameras allowed in these events. Like, it's just a private party. So I literally have whiplash. But this is the thing: when these guys see me out publicly, it's like they're kind of like, I'm like, you don't have to do that. Your secret is safe with me, right?
Right.
But the thing is, I will tell you, as a female, I am very concerned that these guys are just not saying I'm fluid. Just say it. Don't give me the impression that you are totally into me. And by the way, I'm not saying non-committal guys, this is them. But what I'm saying, a lot of guys who are not committing, this is the reason why, because they like to dip in both worlds. And then they know if they settle down and commit to you, then now their time is going to be accounted for and they won't be, as I hate to use the term, fluid as they are right now in current space. So that's the thing is, and that's it right there. Heterosexual women, we're concerned because these guys are doing this. And it does leave us a little standoffish. I will tell you, I ask a lot of questions.
You should.
And I also think like it's part of the game, part of the rush, part of the excitement
Really?
that they get from doing it. Yeah. I mean, because knowing you're getting away with something is almost
Right.
a dopamine rush, you know?
I didn't look at it from that perspective. It's
Right.
like a high.
It's like a high.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous and taboo to them a little
Mhm.
bit. So
Yeah.
they-
So you really don't want to say anything. You want to keep it secret and let's see how long we can do this. And probably the longer you get away with it, the better you feel. It makes you feel.
I'm gonna say and I agree with you. I think a lot of that is because for men, it's about the chase, it's about the excitement, it's that natural high of knowing you're in the same space with your lover and your wife at the same time. And it's like this is great for them, right? But I will tell you, it's
it
troublesome.
sounds uncomfortable.
It sounds very uncomfortable because I don't know. Like for me, this is one of my biggest fears. And this is like serious. This is one of my biggest fears. The reason why I do import export, and everybody says, what is that? The reason why I date men out of the state, I import them and then I export them back home, is because I'm always afraid of going into an event and I've slept with 10 people in that space, right? That's like a fear for me because I know women
That
who
sounds
go into
familiar.
spaces, right? I know a lot of people who go into those spaces, men and women, and you look around and like the body count is in that space and you're like, and then you show with somebody new and it's like, you don't want them to talk to this because I've been with that person. So my thing is, I'm trying to figure out how do you juggle that when you are really in two different worlds at one time? That's a lot of pressure. By the way, and some of these people are of the cloth, but we won't get into that.
A lot of work.
Ooh, let me pray for you. Let me pray for you.
Okay, so listen, you guys know, we're heavy on making sure we do provide a lot of information to the younger people who are in this process and they're struggling right now. And so, Scott, to your point, you were married, you have children, and there's a lot of kids right now. And Dr. K, we talked about you. Dr. K says, well, I tried to date women, but it didn't work. So I'm not in there. But right now, there's a lot of young people right now struggling with that. What would you say to them right now? They're struggling with the decision to tell their parents, I'm not heterosexual. Like, what would you say to them?
That it's the alternative and what it does to you mentally, internally, to keep that inside is worse than being who you are. And I know it's easier said than done, but I think you might have said this, maybe Jesse said it last week or I heard it somewhere else. You go through it and you do it and you get up the next day and the sun comes out and the sky didn't fall You go on, and I know that sounds cliche and it sounds really easy, but I just think you got to be true to yourself. And in the long run, you're going to realize it was the best thing to do. And, hopefully you're going to find the support that you need. And if you don't, you need to surround yourself with the people who do support you. Because, in my situation, I think that somewhere deep down I knew, but I didn't have the courage or the braveness to go through it at the time. And I felt like I needed to conform to social norms. This is what you do. This is what's next. The house, the car, the picket fence, the kids, the whole thing. Now, I wouldn't change a bit of what I've gone through in my journey, because the result of that was these 3 amazing children that I have that wouldn't be here if I didn't have the union with my ex-wife. And, on another podcast, we'll get into my kids because they're amazing. So for me, I'm glad in a way that I didn't at the time, as much pain as that whole situation was when I went through it, I wouldn't have my children. But
Right.
if someone is contemplating that, by all means, I think the right way to go is to deal with your human truth and be who you are.
I love that. Guys, we'll be right back with Dr. K's response, because I'm going to tell you,
I'm
these
sorry,
men are...
did I take up all your time?
No, you didn't. I just want to say, I think you guys are absolutely 2 amazing men. And I already told you, I think you're hot. So if I'm thinking you're hot, I know the men are just like
Yes.
falling out. I've been on your Instagram pages. You could have got my phone number, both of you. I'll be right back after these messages.
Get it that I'm never going back. Get it that I'm never going back. I get to it first, I got you mad. I guess that when I get to it last. Get it that I'm never going back. Get it that I'm never going back. Going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, going up. Get it that I'm never going up.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 5 F's to Love. Tonight, if you're just joining us, you're watching Our Community, Our Voice, which is with our LGBT community. And let me just say, don't forget tomorrow, if you didn't see our commercial for Real Talk with the Ladies, we're talking to some lady talk. And you guys know Wednesday is Galen. He gets real deep in those relationships. I'm telling you, I watch it and I learn something new about myself every week, and I rewatch. So let me tell you, Carlito's Way, thank you, Carlito's Way, for joining us. She said, but isn't that the same for any relationship where one partner is less committed and looking when the other party thinks it's something else? So she's like, it's no different versus a heterosexual relationship versus an LGBT relationship. Like the other partner is looking. She also said the Ruth Ellis Center in Highland Park provides the greatest resources for young people. Thank you very much. It's another shout out to the Ruth Ellis Center. And I'm going to tell you, we had them on our education podcast, one of the supervisors over there. And we were talking about the education programs available to students. And so let me just say this to you guys. You know, when you have a child who is just deciding who they want to be, and I know a lot of times they don't have the family support. folks, we're going to list resources on YouTube where they can go, even if it's a 1-800 number or whatever it may be. After this goes live, you'll see it reposted, and we're going to add some resources there that you can click on and go to. And the Ruth Ellis Center will be one listed for the state of Michigan. But guys, we've got to understand that the highest rate of suicides is our young people thinking that they're trying to make a decision with their life. And if you guys didn't hear Dr. K's story last week, his family was so supportive. Every family isn't. His family was like, look, we love you. You belong to us. Whatever you do is what you're doing, but we love you. So let's get this together. Right.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky.
I know you like made out, dude. Like most people don't get that.
Most people don't get it. And you know what? That's why I always tell youth nowadays, like, you gotta be yourself. You know, it's so easy to copy what we see, especially now with social media, TikTok, and you know, we always want to copy what somebody else. But if you're your own true, genuine self, you're gonna be the best at doing that because it's you.
It's you. And
It's
sometimes you need to go outside of your family and create a community of support for yourself.
I'm so glad you mentioned the resources part, because I think, you know, it's really easy to say, live your truth and be who you are and go have the courage to go to your family or friends or whoever it is you want to, you know, have that truthful moment with. But it's the aftermath that comes after that.
Yeah.
The support and the resources and the family and the arms around you to take care of you, because it can either go the way that Dr. K had, or it can go completely south.
Oh yeah, and when it goes south, it
can go truly south.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of those kids homeless. You know, the family just totally pushes them out the door, which is not cool. But you know, that's what happens. TNT, thank you so much for joining us on YouTube. And so, what were you saying, Scott?
That's where the great work of Ruth Ellis can come in.
Yes. And that's the thing. And folks, there's resources in every state. So again, when we finish this, you'll see it updated tomorrow with posts. So when you rewatch this, or you want to share this with someone, you'll see those additional resources that you can link to. But guys, you know, it really hurts me. And I say this because when I worked in education, I could see young men and young women who were struggling. And when I met their parents, and it's one thing, you know, at the time I was a high school biology teacher, and I'll never forget, there was a young woman who her mother was like a beauty queen, you know, and I think she thought her daughter, she had her in all these competitions and all of this. She was a very beautiful young woman, but she said to me, she said, you know, Miss Burkette, you know, I need to talk to you. And I said, sure. She says, you know, how do I tell my mom, I don't mind being in a beauty pageant, but I like girls. And her mother was in this whole, you know how we do now, Jack and Jill, is all of this happening in this little girl's life. Okay. So Scott, you may not know, in the Black culture, Jack and Jill is your coming out party. Like when you enter the Black high society.
Your debutante ball.
Your debutante ball.
Your quinceanera.
Exactly. Your quinceanera. Exactly. There you go. It's equivalent to that.
All right.
So it's hard for her to say to her mom, like, I'll do this, but I'm not into this. And that's the thing. So, you know, I felt her pain. And so I called her mom just to talk to her. And you know what her mom said to me? She says, I knew it. I was just waiting for her to tell me. She says, I knew it. She said, I knew it. She said, years ago, I knew it. She says, I was just waiting for her to tell me. And I said, well, she's scared to tell you. She says, no. But her thing is, her mother said, if she's going to be a lesbian, she's going to be a gorgeous lesbian. I don't care.
Absolutely.
She's going to be lipstick. They call her lipstick.
She's going to be a lipstick lesbian.
Right.
So her mom said she was going to be the pretty one in the couple. She didn't care.
No book.
Bottom line. Exactly. So that's the thing. But I think the young lady was so fearful. She really didn't take in consideration her mother was open to it, because her mother's actions were opposite of what she thought, you know, a person would be doing if they knew she was into women. So, you know, guys, I'm going to tell you, this conversation has been an eye opener for me. One of the things that I want to do is I want to make sure we do a challenge. So I put together a cute little challenge for people to post after they watch this. And so the challenge I put out is to celebrate love. We want you guys to post pictures of your partner or your family to the 5Fs to Love social media sites with hashtag LGBT life. Because the thing is love, and we want everyone to feel supported and appreciated. And here at the 5Fs to Love Network, that's what we do. We look at all the types of love. We're not saying one love is better than the other love. And I'm going to tell you right now, with everything that's going on out there, I would love to have somebody just love me for me, right? But I do have one requirement. It has to be a real penis attached to it. I'm just being honest. I know it's probably some women who would love me for me. Oh my God, did you get your
Because I wanted to jump the gun. I wanted to post the love of my life.
So look, Dr. K, you're gonna post your dog?
It's me and her. I'm telling you.
I have one, but
Oh my gosh.
she's too big. I can't pick her
This
up.
is the
Okay,
love of my
Scott, what
life.
does your dog look like?
A German Shepherd.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, are you serious?
She's big. And she doesn't like to be picked up either. She's like,
Okay.
no. Like, no. She's
Oh
old.
my God.
She's 12 though. She's the sweetest thing.
Oh, see,
She's
that's
over there,
beautiful. Okay, well, listen, I don't have a pet.
Okay.
I had pets.
We gotta
for
get you a
years.
fish.
Yes.
You know what? I had a dog, and my son, he was an only child growing up, and he was like, Mom, I want a brother or sister. We can get a dog. Get a dog. And we did. Well, when he left to go to school, like the dog mysteriously left and went to another home.
Oh, Mom. No.
I was like,
It ran away.
it was no. Honestly, I gave the dog away to a really good home. But I will say this, I've had a dog since I was a kid. I grew up with my dog Smokey, and then I had Coco before I had my son. And then when I had my son, Coco, and my son would go at it because she felt like she was the child and he was the child. It was a big to do. And then when he got of age, he wanted a dog, so I got him a dog. And I loved the dog, but when he left, I didn't want to be a dog caregiver any longer.
Yeah.
I've had my stint with dogs. So I
It's
was
like
like,
a single parent.
it is. It's like being a single parent. When you leave, you got to find a place for them to stay. You got to make sure they eat. I was just like, I just want to walk out the door.
Right.
But I want to walk out the
That's
door.
why you should have a cat. You can just leave and go out of town. And
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to sound so cruel. My best friend in life, and she watches all the time, and I love her. Cookie, I love you. I can't stand cats. I told her when I come, put your cat up. I'm not a cat person. Let the cat go. But I'm not a cat person. I'm a dog person. So if I ever get married again and I have kids in that relationship, I would get them a dog. I think having a dog when you're growing up is a special bond, is very unique, and helps you really build on giving and being selfless, right? So folks, if you're watching, I would love for you to post pictures. Again, this is our challenge. Our challenge is to celebrate love. We want you to post your pictures of your partner, your family to the 5Fs to Love social media sites with hashtag LGBT life. And of course, hashtag the 5Fs to Love. I mean, we want to make sure that everybody is celebrating. That's our challenge for this week. So guys, as we close out, what is one thing that you would say to a person who's struggling with being fluid, bisexual, in an open relationship, swinging, monogamy, polyamorous? Did I forget anything?
I'm sure, but
Look, all those things. What would you say to them, Scott?
Do what makes you happy and don't worry about what other people think. As long as it's not harming you physically, mentally, emotionally, it's not illegal, immoral, or anything like that. Just live your truth and be who you are. And like I said, don't worry about what other people think.
Okay, Dr. K.
I would say be honest. And that's be honest with yourself.
I like that.
And with your partner. And your honesty may change over time, but as long as you're honest and expressing or letting your partner know what that change is, I think any relationship can work if you're honest, if you're forthcoming on hey, this is what I want. This is what I don't like. I think one of the things and one of the big things in social media this week has been uh, one of one of the city girls getting peed on. And
What?
but she was honest.
Scott, you and I are like, what?
She likes getting. She used to date P Diddy, or she does date P Diddy, and she was talking about she's in the golden showers.
Literally.
Yeah, and
He
I
did.
P Diddy, right?
Scott and I are like, what?
P Diddy pee on me. P Diddy.
No, I'm like that's not news to me. That thing.
So I think like as long as you're honest and you honestly let somebody know what you like, what you don't like, I think that just helps relationships,
Yes.
whatever type of relationship.
Yes, because whatever your fetish is that you have, whatever it is that you like, don't like, if you don't talk about it, you're
Right.
going to go outside the relationship to seek it out.
Hello.
Wow. Now that's like an exclamation mark to leave this conversation on. Whatever you don't discuss with the person that you're with, you will go out to seek it because it's what you enjoy.
It's like a gay man that's with a woman. And
Yes.
what do? They go out and seek it.
Yeah.
They go out and seek it. All right, folks, listen. If you didn't understand what any of those terms were, you're going to Google it like I did. Okay. And more importantly, if you're out here and you're dating, you need to know what they are and you need to ask people questions. Because to their point, it's all about honesty and it's about you being true to yourself. And the first thing I always tell people, you got to love yourself first before anybody else does. If you're asking someone to accept you for who you are, then you need to accept yourself for who you are. And trust me when I say this to you, it took me years to accept Christine in this package, just the way I am. And and I always tell people, it doesn't make a difference what community you belong to. Self-acceptance is the first thing. And the second thing is being open to people about who you are and what it is that you want. Because to their point, if you're not honest, where's the relationship going to go? If you're with a woman and you'd rather be with a man, then why are you with the woman? Are you going to live up to what society thinks? The June Cleaver thing? I need to have a wife and a white picket fence and kids. That's not going to stay long. Now, you may get some wonderful kids out of it, but you're going to end up hurting somebody out of that relationship. And it may not be you, and it may not just be them. It could be the kids, and that could be the outcome. So I'm just going to tell you, be true to yourself, live your true life, and always embrace people who love you just the way you are. I love these guys. I think they're amazing. By the way, before I hang out with any, including Jesse, before I hang out with any three of you, I'm tightening up this package. I'm not hitting the beach with you guys.
You got it.
I would have like a moo throw on. Like, look at them. They're gorgeous. I'm basically the entourage. You guys are amazing, but I'm going to tell you, you guys motivate me. You really do. So thank you.
And I'm motivated by you. Thank you.
You're motivated by me. I have no idea why.
You're hosting this wonderful show.
Yes.
I love the ads. Everything's put together so perfectly. Yes, you motivate me.
Okay, well, thank you. And you know
you
what?
are a breath of fresh air.
Oh, I'm a breath of fresh air?
You are.
Oh, thank you. I love that. I love that because, Jesse and I had the longest talk about this, and we just thought it was important to make sure that we have a voice out there from the LGBT community. It was just so important. And shout out to Curtis Lipkin. He's been a really good friend of mine for years. I love him. He is the president of the LGBT community here in Detroit. He is an awesome guy and has been a really, really good friend of mine. And from the time he moved in his Greenfield location, I was over there decorating, moving furniture around, painting. I did his first grand opening. I brought furniture from my house to make sure it was amazing and it was well managed. But I believe in people just being who they are and loving them where they are at and not having any more expectations of them than for who they are. And I just want to say thank you to you guys. I want to see you guys rock. I'm going to tell Jesse, you were missed, Jesse, but I just wanted to say the guys held it down tonight.
That's
we
right.
Got you, Jesse. We got you.
High five.
Jesse, we missed you. And just to let you guys know, Jesse will be here next week. She was actually taking care of some business. You guys know Jesse's everywhere and anywhere. So we will see you guys here next week. I can't wait to our topic next week. I'm really excited. You know, you guys are keeping me on my toes too, this whole thing. I'm loving this. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys next week. And please don't show with any shirts off because I can't handle it. If you really want me to focus, don't do it. Don't do it. Dr. K, Scott, I'll see you guys next week.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye,
See you
guys.
guys next week,
Bye.
next Monday.
Night.